So where are you? What room is this right now that you're in?
I'm in the bedroom. So
This is
we're
the
in the
bedroom.
bedroom. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Okay. Okay.
this is the door to walk in. That's the
I got you.
bathroom. And then that's
Okay.
a TRX hooked up to
That's
the
your
bed.
okay. That's your little home
And
home gym
there's
thing.
guitars right here. So
Oh, you actually play the guitar? Is it just for like the looks?
no, just I could say it was to play, and now it's kind of looking
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
me. But
It's kind of, but it adds like a little bit of artistry towards
yeah,
your character.
yeah.
It gives you a
Every
little
once in a
character.
while, I'll grab it. Like I have
Yeah.
my membership, and I'll play the songs, and I'll end up going back to the same fucking chords over and over and over and over again.
I got mine over here. I don't know if you can see it.
No, do you? No.
Yeah.
You're on
We'll play
like a
later.
kick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone's like, oh, we could jam out. I was like, we can't jam out.
My kids are very much like how you and I are when it comes to making fun of life. And Ellie, we're watching some show in Disney, Camp Chukawaka. I don't know. You're gonna watch all this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know this? Yeah, it's a great show.
Isn't that Salute Your Shorts?
Bunked. No, Salute Your Shorts forever ago, right? That's
yeah.
like Nickelodeon 1998 or something.
Yeah.
So Bunked, some like as a camp people, like a bunch of camp people around a fire or whatever, and it's like a comedy, like a stupid Disney show. And one of the kids comes over and starts playing his guitar, and he's like handsome, and all the girls like him. And Ellie goes like this to me. She goes, "Oh God, put the guitar away." Like, yes. We high fived each other. It was awesome.
Just talking shit about people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's funny.
And then so your little room there,
Mm-hmm.
has there been anyone ever like kind of walked in the room when you're in the middle of recording or?
No, I'll get Phoenix knocking all the time. So right now Nat's here, so she has to like monitor the kids, make sure they don't go near the door, because usually Phoenix will come in and he'll try his best to get his ass inside here for sure, so he could jump on the bed. That's really it. So, but has he ever
been successful where he's just jumping on the bed and you're just doing your little podcast and you're like trying to ignore him?
No, I would cut the podcast in 5 seconds. There's no way. There's no way it's going. All right, I guess we'll start this up. This is like kind of the theme, just like talking for a while, and then we'll do the introduction. But hey guys, welcome back. This is a Jersey to Vegas podcast. This is Pete. I am Coach Pete, and I have my best friend Danny Bartosiewicz is on with us today for episode number 27. 27. Super excited that we're getting this far. I really thought I was going to stop at 3, Dan. I didn't expect to actually get this far into it. But before we start, let's always shout out. We're going to shout out the Patreon crew. Thank you guys for everything, and thank you for always being part of the crew. And then we're going to give another shout out to Boost Fitness and Greenville Coffee. As usual, those are our sponsors. But right now we have Danny B. Danny B, say what's up.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
What's up, Petey?
What's up? So really quick rundown of Danny. Me and Danny are friends. That's about it. Nothing else.
I'm not here to promote anything. Unfortunately, I have no good business thing or anything like that. I'm here to shoot the shit with Pete Isip.
That's great. Like right? You have no not agenda. You have no
agenda.
Yeah, no agenda.
I'm promoting Pete Isip, I guess.
Danny
I'm influencing right now.
He's an avid listener. He's also a Patreon crew member. So
boom.
I appreciate it. So I
think I only got one shout out, by the way. I think it was one shout out. I thought I was supposed to get more.
I'm gonna give him another.
The reason why we support is
now he's on. Now he's on. So he actually made it on. So it's the best shout out you can get forever.
If you guys support, eventually you'll be on the show. That's basically what Pete's saying.
Pretty much.
I mean, obviously.
Even if you didn't support, I'll put you on the show.
Yeah.
But
you're good radio, whatever we call it, podcast.
Danny, I remember. So here's a quick story of Danny and like how I actually knew of Danny. I just remember Danny from kind of like soccer, and then we played baseball together. Correct?
We
played baseball together.
Yeah.
But I remember I was down the shore with my family, Seaside Heights, New Jersey, and I was at, I believe it was either Big Top Arcade or another one. And I just saw Dan and he just looked familiar. And I was like, hey. And then like, hey. And for some reason, he was by himself. Like it was just him and Tom Ranucci without an adult. And I was
so like 11.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was like, wait a minute. Children are allowed to be away from their parents. Like my mom, I had a leash on me. Like I had a hot dog in my pocket. And I was just like, I was next to my parents. And Danny was like free. And I was like, wow, these kids could be free. Like you're allowed to do stuff without a parent around. All right, let me go back to my parents and I'll see you later. And then I went back the next day to see if you guys were there, and you guys weren't there. And that was it. Yeah.
I do remember this, unless this is like, you know how your memory is just kind of, I don't know. I don't know how the mind works, but I have a couple of memories. I remember the arcade, but then I remember another image of us seeing you later on in your like hotel or something over the balcony yelling at us or something like that. And maybe this was just something I'm imagining. Maybe it's someone else, but yeah.
Right.
But I remember Tom Ranucci and you, and we didn't have, you know, I don't. How the hell did we even communicate to each other back in the day? I mean, did you like give me your phone number like a
No.
stick, and then like
No,
like
it was just by chance. That was it.
and then you remember when you were that age, you would latch on to someone real quick. So I saw you, and I'm like, oh my god, Pete Isip, wow, he's so cool. And then the next thing you know, I'm over your house every other day
Right.
for
Right.
8 years.
For years and years and years, and vice versa, and vice versa.
No, you didn't come over my house too much. The only time you ever came over my house was when you knew there was a big holiday party that took place the day before.
No, I went to visit
You
your
came
mom.
over only to eat.
I went to visit your mom. That sounds like an insult.
You have to go somewhere.
I went to your house more when I got older, because I wasn't
When you got
allowed
older,
out.
when you
I
got
wasn't
older, when
really
you were
allowed to
younger.
go that far. You were.
I think now that I obviously I know you my whole life, but now that we're older and you kind of think back how our parents raised us and stuff, I'm pretty sure you weren't allowed to leave the block, right?
No,
Like
I was
15.
16. I was still not allowed to leave the block.
going to Franklin Ave was like the first getaway of your life.
That was
Just
like getting out, like being like hanging out with you guys, like when you guys were going out to hang out with Nutley people or anyone just going to Franklin Ave. I was like, what? I don't think I'm allowed to go that far. And then just became there. And then they were like picking us up.
So for your listeners, I mean, I don't know how much insight your guests give on you, but I could say you'd come over. This is something that was miraculous. I never met anyone who ate like this before, and it wasn't inquiring. We're not going to the fat kid, well, that stuff. No, because that is what it is. We're all fat and we all ate a lot. But you just took a bowl of food and just took shit from the fridge. It didn't matter what consistency it was. It didn't matter tomato sauce. You can't miss tomato sauce with turkey. Like, what are you doing? And it would just be this big smorgasbord of food in a bowl, and you wouldn't even put it in the microwave. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I remember my mom was like, who is this kid over our home? And this was Pete. You do this to me and Vinny all the time. You come over our house, raid our fridge, and just have this disgusting, I don't know. And you know what? I do this now. That's my wife. I literally have every week, so especially since COVID, I just have a big leftover bowl of food. But I do warm it up though. I don't usually do the cold. I don't know how you.
It's so much easier just putting a bowl.
Can't wait 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Although microwaves were slower back then. Maybe that's why they're like a little.
I think actually yours, you had to like turn the knob and it was like a timer. It was like
Yeah, it made noises and stuff.
yeah, it was like a oven, little Miss Oven Baker. What's the name of the thing?
Little oven baker thingy. We didn't have that.
You had that? Your
No, I
first
didn't have that.
oven baker, whatever.
Was that a girl thing?
Yeah. It was like
You totally had one now. You were making like little croissants or something in it.
I can't remember the name of it.
Easy bake oven or something like that.
Easy bake oven. Easy bake oven. My easy bake oven. Yep.
Yeah.
That is it. That was it. And it had that weird timer.
Didn't they? Remember when we were kids too? Didn't they have like? Weren't you able to make little plastic things that you'd put in the oven, like your real oven? They used to sell these little things that you'd make, and you'd put them in the oven, and it was legit plastic that can like burn your hand off.
Yes.
And you made things with them. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm sure I had that as a kid.
Shrink.
Yeah. Shrinky dinks.
Shrinky dinks? Is it Shrinky Dink?
I don't know. I don't want to Google because my whole thing might get screwed up.
yeah. Just we're 30 minutes late because Danny's computer kept shutting off and we couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. We're on Zoom now.
And I'm an IT guy too, by the way.
Right. You're in computers and shit.
I gotta ask your brother-in-law to help me out here because
he's actually coming. They're on a plane right now.
That's cool.
They're heading down here. Yeah.
That's cool. So we were supposed to come this weekend. Remember, this was going to be the weekend.
Yeah, this is the week you're supposed to go.
Christening tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow,
so we got to
right?
figure out. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah, so we got to figure out when we're going to come to see your ass.
Yeah, it's cold now, bro. It's fucking cold. I didn't think so. Someone told me I didn't need a jacket.
Are you? I think one of the questions. I think I listened yesterday to your podcast. I think I'm 2 behind or 1 behind, and then there's like a few in the middle that I kind of missed. But I think yesterday's or the one I listened to yesterday was about seasonal.
Depression.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I got
Let
it.
me tell you something. Like right now,
Fuck
it
yeah.
is dark and cloudy and cold, and
Mm,
I love that. I love that about winter. For me, that's like
right.
what winter's. I think I'm the opposite. I think when it's sunny in winter, I get all weird. I'm like, oh man, it's sunny outside.
It's because you like cozying in. You like being, you like I guess
I,
I don't know
I could be.
actually.
I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
can go on the couch right now, put my head, like I'm supposed to lay down, and then we talk, and then it's like a shrink session. I don't
Right.
know.
And just relax. Yeah. I
Just
can't
chill.
stand still. So like when I can't get outside, I'm like, all right, what the fuck am I gonna do now? So I'm like just stuck in my head and over again. So my anxiety's been really bad. Like it's really bad, Dan. It's the worst it's been, and I don't even know how long.
Why? What's triggered?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't even tell you. It might be the medication, new medicines that they're putting me on, but
Didn't they figure that out, or shit get?
they're still trying to figure it out. So they cut me. Actually called the psychiatrist yesterday because it was that bad. Like I couldn't control my hands. I couldn't control what I was thinking, and I can't like drive. I don't know.
What happens
It's
when you
weird.
drive?
It gets
Well, you're Asian,
okay.
so you
I
can't
want
drive
you to. All
anyway.
right, you smoke cigarettes, but I never smoked a
Sorry.
cigarette.
Yeah,
But I know they say on your first hit, you get very lightheaded.
yeah.
Same feeling. I feel
Uh,
like I'm dipping, but I'm just like floating. And
so
I just don't
that's
feel
kind of
like
anxiety. That's kind of anxiety I get. I'll get like that.
uh
I'll feel like lightheaded. Kind of feel like a little dizzy.
that's what you feel.
Yeah, no reason. Just wake up one day and I'm like, oh Christ, and
Yeah.
then it kind of just
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah. I'm
Or
just
shortness
waiting
of
for it to
breath
go
or something.
away. I drank coffee and I do, but I think this was a really strong one because I went to Starbucks this morning. It was like fucking 4 a.m. They're open at 4:30 over here. And then I think it was just too strong that it just made it really high today. So I'm just waiting for it to calm down. I'm gonna stop drinking coffee for a little bit.
Wasn't that like 8 hours ago for you?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Meanwhile, it was my second cup of coffee.
Oh, I
I was
wish.
gonna add some drinks, but I don't know if we're allowed to drink on this. So I was
Oh,
like, all right.
of course.
And
But
then I'm
it's
like
only
thinking,
11. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of early for you. And then I'm thinking, I think they want to go look at Christmas decorations tonight. And I can't be around, driving drunk with the
No,
kids
definitely
at
not. No, that wouldn't
3 in
be
the
a good
afternoon.
idea. We've been there. There's dance class, right? So-
Yeah, we don't have coffee in those little Yetis.
yeah, when you see a parent with a coffee mug, it's probably not coffee inside there. It's usually an adult beverage that they're
Well,
hiding.
you can tell already the ones that definitely have it in their mug for sure. You're
Oh,
just like,
really?
oh yeah, you're like, oh god, this one. It's funny, man. You're like all of a sudden you just become part of that world.
Yeah.
You lately I've been taking the kids, dropping them off at whatever. Because of COVID, you can't go in there and like watch them practice whatever they're practicing. So you have to sit like outside.
Pause.
Yeah. Tiny little area. Not
Hold
even,
on.
yeah.
You said outside and you cut. You froze up.
Oh boy.
So it's okay. So I was like that. That means for me to edit. It's okay. So just
Okay.
go. You went back from. You said you just went inside, and then you kind of lost it from there.
So you go inside and you for any like little sporting event with the kids, they don't let you go in and see them practice whatever they're
Oh,
practicing. You have to go out. You have to go in like a little lobby waiting room area and
right.
wait for them to come out. And
Okay.
when they did dancing and stuff, that was common. But people have changed since COVID, and now all they want to do is talk,
Right.
and it's all women. And
Right.
I'm just like, help myself. I can't. So here's what I do. I do a Pete Isip. I put my little headphones on, and I
Yes.
just sit in
That's
my
it.
little corner and I
Yeah.
do my thing. And you know me, I don't shut up. So
Right.
for me to have to do that, so,
And that goes. Oh, you have Danny on. What time are you gonna be finished? 3.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I said we're gonna be here for a while.
So it's all right. Well, shit. What was I gonna say? I was gonna talk about it. I forgot. Damn it.
How's Christmas over there right now? Like, how does that work? Is there like cactus? Is there like cactus instead of Christmas trees? What do you guys do?
Palm trees. Like
Palm trees.
they decorate palm trees. You see that like outside of our complex. Like once you walk in, like that front lobby, whatever house, whatever house, they have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
palm trees, but there's no lights on it. They just have like that bottom light shining red and red and green, but I'll see like a
Oh,
bunch of
okay.
other ones. They just have like this palm trees with
Do
lights on it.
people, yeah, I was like, people get like at least creative and string the lights all the way up the palm tree, and
Yeah. Some
'cause they're
people
pretty
like
high.
decorate, but they do some good decorations here from what we've seen. We're gonna go to like some festival stuff. Like they have an ice skating rink, and they made one somewhere like probably like 15 minutes away from here.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of reenact. I don't know if you could have like hot cocoa and shit too, but it's just it just doesn't
Like,
feel right. It doesn't think it's weird because it's like right now it was 32 this morning, so it was cold,
that's cold.
and
Yeah,
and right now it's 59. So it's like, huh,
it's
I could.
yeah, it's the same here. 59 exactly right now.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow, it's the same. It's good.
It was really cold. It was really cold this week. It was probably in the 30s, I think, all week, and
Mm.
then yesterday it rained, and now it's kind of warm. I think it's supposed to be warm until late next week.
Oh wow, interesting. Oh,
Again, that bothers me. See, again,
right,
I like the season to be
the
what the
season.
season's intended to be, cold.
Right,
So I want it to be cold. You know, I hate the cold.
right.
The
You hate
teeth,
it, but you like the
otherwise.
season. You like the season,
Yeah.
the Christmas feel.
Yes.
Yes.
That's probably why you're having a little bit of issues, because you're in this whole new
Oh
world, if
yeah.
you will.
It's definitely stirred from the holidays. Like, you know how people say the
Yeah.
holidays are the worst? It's the worst. Like, you miss people more, you feel like you're alone more, like all the things that you think you used to do, you're not gonna do, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's definitely different. It's definitely gonna be different because I'm like, all right, I gotta get Christmas gifts for no one. Like no one. Not that I ever got gifts anyway. Like
Yeah, I was gonna
if I
say, did
did,
you?
no, I just make something from like whatever leftovers I had. I'd make you something. But for the most part, like even like my parents, I don't have to get them anything because like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get them
Yeah.
popcorn. I probably am gonna get them popcorn. Actually, I'm gonna deliver that big fucking tin of popcorn. I don't know what else to get them.
But
And
remember,
then
as a
like
kid, that was like the thing to get, the big giant tins.
yes,
I don't think they went away, because I think they're still around. I saw them at Target.
it's like three compartments, right? Oh, hold on.
Yep.
Yeah, I already know to go to the 20-minute mark always whenever I use a Zoom.
That's
I
like
was gonna
my
say the time
cue.
on here.
Or once I see that, that means we're wrapping up.
No,
We're getting
no,
ready to.
no wrapping up. No
Oh,
wrapping up.
so on the podcast, and then we'll go back to Christmas.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Who's the dude who's like, "Hey, and welcome, Mr. Peter, did you just talk?" Who's that guy? I
I
don't like
bought it.
that job.
I bought them. So I ordered intros and outros before the podcast started just to get
Is that
all.
right?
Yeah. So like I added into the beginning and then the middle and then to the end. Usually just beginning and end if I remember.
That's
But
cool.
yeah. I'm gonna change it actually because it's like kind of is moved a different direction. So I'm gonna go something else. So I'll just wait to
Do you want
change
to
that.
do you want to talk about like that, like what your intent is to start this podcast was originally intended to be, and kind of where it transitions into what who you are now?
Yeah. So like this podcast pretty much was intended for me just to stay in touch with you guys. That was it.
Yeah.
Like it was just a way for me to talk. And you'll see that whenever I do like solo ones, it just
Mhm.
became just me talking about whatever the transition from here to there, the differences versus trying to, call everybody and everyone. Try if you want to know like how I'm doing, just listen to the podcast because it's like there, it's pretty
That's
simple and you don't have to waste your
pretty much
time.
what I've been doing. Yeah, I mean, we
Right.
text all the time, as you know,
Right.
but
The other day I missed like 82 texts.
sorry, I'm gonna text you now. Vinny's gonna start texting us probably
Oh, man,
in
it's
a
over.
little while. We'll
It's
start
over.
showing it to the video.
Yeah. So our friend Vinny just posts up pictures of joints and music, and that's it. Straight up.
I don't know. I didn't know how to talk to him the other night, so I just spoke to him in so I don't know. That's the whole long thing.
Sometimes he's so high, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I was like, what does it even mean? But
so then, where do you see from the start of the podcast what you originally started
so
with?
now I see it as like every guest that you see on, we'll talk about them and what they're doing, but you always see me ask them questions about mental health, like whether it's a bad time, a challenging time, how did they overcome it? And that's usually the main question. So for people to kind of use this as a reference, and also the clips that I put out to just kind of help people in that realm, because we all go through it. It's just sometimes you feel like you're not by yourself, or you feel like you're by yourself. So I don't like try to gear everything towards it, but it's a question that I think everyone can answer. So it's that's pretty much where it went.
It's crazy because when we were like kids, Nobody spoke about that stuff. It just didn't even. We're like you and I are huge hip hop people. We love rap, and then how I am with my old school stuff.
Right.
Nobody was rapping about mental illness or whatever else. Now today it's like that's what all they rap about. It's like
Yeah.
their anxiety and shit.
Yeah,
They're
it's
mumbling.
like I don't understand what it is. Like it just was unspoken of. It just wasn't like I guess it was that whole I don't know, weakness or just didn't know. They probably
Yeah.
just felt like they felt sick and they probably didn't even know like what was going on. That's kind of how I
It's
look at it.
it goes back to saying, with us, I don't know if I probably spoke to them about this too, but like when we were kids, you were always the strange, the strange one. I don't know. You always dressed differently.
Yeah.
But that's what made you awesome, made you unique, right? And in some way, shape, or form, you got us to start dressing like you. No.
Yeah.
And you just kept going above and beyond. And next, you're like Lady Gaga before it was Lady Gaga. And then you were chubby when we were younger. You say you were fat. I don't remember you being super fat, whatever. But then when you got into your bodybuilding thing, you overcame so much and you changed so many things about you during those periods. Like there was all these different rounds of Pete, right?
Yeah.
And in those rounds, there was always, like me, there's always something that's Danny, something that's Pete, something that's Vinny, and you just, I don't say ignore it, you just accept it. You don't question it. You don't. So all those little Pete things that you did behind the scenes, I had no idea that was actually something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because friends, really close friends like this, I'm never gonna go to you and be like, yo man, why are you doing that thing you do all the time more than you usually do it all the time? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Unless you come to me and want to talk. And same with me. And it just becomes one of those things where, and I don't know if it's good or bad, you kind of just go through life accepting the little things that maybe people are doing that you don't really know could be something bigger than it is. And that's how it kind of was with you with this whole, the last couple of years. Like, I guess the writing was all there, but again, we've spoken over the years, but never really deep. And only until this podcast did I really start kind of listening a lot more to you. And I think as I'm saying, I think going from the beginning of this podcast, I expected to be more of just saying that Jersey to Vegas, what the fuck is different in Vegas versus what's in Jersey, how much do you miss Jersey, etc. But then you kind of took it to a whole mental level, and those solo ones you do are pretty deep, and I've learned a lot about my man Pete here through. And again, it's like one of those things. Do I like call you up after I listen to a podcast? I think I did one of them, and I'm like, "Are you all right, man?"
Yeah, you checked up. Yeah, I'm cool.
Maybe I should text you. I don't know, some stupid memes. Maybe I should pick up the phone and call. But
memes.
No, man, I see the direction it's going in. It's cool. I like the fact that you're bringing people in and having discussions about mental health, but also other things as well. So it's cool. It's cool.
Right.
And
it's pretty much learning about the person.
Does this make you happy? This piece of it? This whole podcast thing?
Yeah, this whole podcasting is fun because I get to learn. I get to learn about people, get to talk to people that I haven't seen and or talk to on a real level. And even if it's just a conversation, like today, we were just talking, and then you're kind of like you're reverse podcasting. So it's like you're asking the questions, and I'm giving. I was
gonna get a list. I was gonna put some like a list together and be like,
that's right. I have lists for you.
That's like a real hard one.
I got a list for you, but it's not that bad. It's only 4 questions. It's pretty.
Oh boy.
Pretty simple. No, don't worry about it. It's not hard.
I'm starting all nervous.
Well,
a little nervous ticks you get.
Well, usually I'll tell you. I'll ask you. Do you want me to ask you the questions beforehand or during? And so most people say during, so it's like a surprise. So it's just more of a generic answer versus a predetermined one. Like if I gave you the questions beforehand, it's like you might change the answer.
Yeah, but I'm not famous. If I was famous, right? If I was famous, I'm supposed to get the list before.
Yes.
And be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll mail it to you. Make sure it's okay with your PR.
Yeah, my PR, my people.
Like, nope, don't ask 3, don't ask 6, and
cross out that.
Yeah, ask this one instead. When's your album coming out?
Ooh,
All
that's
right.
a tough one.
So I actually, here's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to get a little deep, since you're talking about that. You had a rough patch. Um, Remember last time we talked, when we went for that walk on the railroad track, you opened up a little bit more. And there was a period of time where you had a family death, your house burnt down, all that stuff happened pretty much in a day or like a week. I'm
Mm,
not sure. Can you tell us a little bit about that real fast
yeah,
and like how'd you feel?
yeah. I mean, so that was Hell Week, I call it. That was the week of March 13th. March 13th is like D-Day for us, and at that time, you probably don't know because, well, I wasn't going to Krank for a couple years just because of work. This is all work related. Got super busy with work, and I'm a project manager, so I went from one project to the next, and blah blah blah. And when I got on my new project, I was traveling a ton. So I was traveling every week. Every week I was going to Cleveland, and I was away from my family and my friends and whatever. And that's all I was doing every week. And I would come home on the weekends, see the family, I'd go back out, and I continued that for months. It was like a good 3 months or so. And it's crazy how fast how fast, not that you accept it, but you just kind of get used to that little lifestyle and how quick that can kind of take over your sort of world. And then you don't realize like what you're missing while you're focusing all your time on work. It's just a bunch of bullshit at the end of the day. And my cousin Bob, Bob,
Yep.
um, his daughter was sick with cancer for a couple of years. She was under 2 years old when she was diagnosed, and then she had passed away. We knew it was going to come, but we didn't know when. And so I was in Cleveland at the time. I got the phone call. It was a Saturday. I was in the office actually that Saturday, and I found out it was terrible, and I was like, oh my god. And I think I wound up staying at work for a little bit, and then I left, and I wound up going to get a drink with one of the guys there, and we just kind of went to like a brewery, and I just drank all day. I talked a little bit about it, but I kind of kept it to myself. And then that night I came home and I called Rose and I just cried. I just cried for a long time, and I don't do that. Like, it's not like my thing. So it really hit me. It was personal. It was kind of
Yeah.
like, it just sucks. And my cousin Bob, I don't know if he's listening. I love him to death. He's a great person, and that shouldn't happen to anybody. But
Right.
especially him. He's such a kind and great
Right.
person. And so that was the first strike. And then I had changed my schedule, my flight to come home. I was supposed to come home that week on a Wednesday because Ava, my oldest daughter, had a dance recital. No, she was in a play. So she was in a play, which is a big thing. So my Ava used to be afraid of everybody and anything. She hated to go around people. She was always nervous, always like scared of everything. And then out of nowhere, she wants to take part in a play. We're like, what? And we never thought she'd go through it with it. It was just like, one of those things that we're just like, okay, sure. And then sure enough, she continued to go through with it. She only had one line in the play, which is hysterical, but she was kind of in the background, kind of dressed up and stuff. And we were excited. So obviously I couldn't miss that. So I had already scheduled to come home to go to her play. Came home, and then I saw her perform. It was awesome. And then I think the next day I then flew out to Texas to go to the funeral and stuff.
Okay.
Right. Now let me pause there. Now, while all that's happening, while all this inner kind of crap is going on in my life, there's also COVID that's
Right.
just now kind of
Oh, shit.
surfacing, right? So around January, February, when I was in the Cleveland office at work, there was a lot of like discussions and stuff about COVID. Like, they started popping up, and we had this big, huge conference room, and right across from the conference room was a little kitchen. And they had a big TV there, and that's where they always had like Bloomberg and like money market,
Right.
the stocks and stuff. All
Just
was
like
on there,
TV
all
stuff
all
on.
that kind of news. Yeah. Stock market started going down big time, started taking a big hit, and it was all about COVID because like six people had COVID in the States. But we're not even thinking that way. We're thinking work, and it's just the flu's worse kind of thing. Never ever thinking that by the time I got to now my daughter's recital or play, that COVID would be like this big thing, right? So I fly out to Texas, and I go and do all that, which was awful. And then the next morning I wake up, it's Thursday, or no, it might have been a Friday morning. The Friday morning was March 13th. I wake up that morning, and one of the guys from Cleveland that I work with closely calls me and tells me that he has COVID. And I'm like, and I was just with this dude, like with him and everybody. And I find out that him and like 12 other people have COVID.
Oh, wow.
And they were the first people in the entire state, I think, to get it. That's how like not common this was at the time. And I'm like panicking because I remember I came off the plane and you could probably relate to this, just to change the temperature fucked up my sinuses and stuff. So I wasn't feeling that well. And I just assumed it was the weather, whatever.
Right.
And then like mentally, someone tells you they have something, you're with them.
That's it.
Mass hysteria, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria,
Right.
Now I think I have COVID. I didn't have COVID, but now I think I do. So now I'm all worried with that. I had just gotten to my kids' play. I had just hugged and kissed everybody at this wake. Now I'm on the way to the funeral, and I'm like, what do I do? So I didn't say anything to anybody. I was kind of quiet because I didn't know what to do. And on the way to the funeral, my dad gets a text. My father's with me and my cousin. We're driving. I'm driving. He's sitting next to me. He gets a text message or a phone call, from the tenant in our old school home that I grew up in Lincoln Terrace, telling me that the house is on fire. Tell my dad that the house is on fire. We're like, what?
This was a tenant? An old tenant or next door neighbor tenant?
It was it's a 3-family. It was a guy on the third floor.
Family. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was actually the husband of, there was a couple that lived there. The husband called my dad. The husband was at work. His wife was actually in the house at the time when it was, and she couldn't get out because of like smoke or whatever.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing. So we pull over the car. We're all freaking out in the car. My mom wasn't home. She was at work.
Wow.
So that was okay. And then the person on the second floor wasn't home either. So it was only the person on the third floor.
Third floor trapped?
Kind of trapped, yeah. So then, we still go to the funeral, and then, because what am I going to do? Right. So we go in the funeral, and then my brother's at the fire, back home in Jersey. My brother's at the house. My wife ended up going there as well, and a few other people. And my dad and I are just stuck in this terrible other situation, and we're getting nonstop text messages, pictures, and stuff. And while all that's going on, this whole funeral thing is happening. It was like The Godfather, the scene in the church when it's just awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain that feeling. Like it's just there's so much going on in my little head, with everything. Luckily, no one got hurt.
It's like overload.
It was overload. Yeah, it was overload.
Yeah.
Somehow I didn't have a panic attack or anything. I mean, that was cool.
Okay.
I don't know, Pete, how what advice to give there, because I don't know. It's just a matter of I think it's around the people you're around and just accepting that there's nothing you can do in this kind of situation. There's really nothing you can do. We wound up going. We actually wound up leaving that day, so we changed all our flights. So while I was in the church, I'm changing flights
in the church.
I don't even know what was happening in the funeral because I was just doing all the flight changes. And then I came home late, or red eye. I came home like early Saturday morning, like maybe 2 a.m. And then the next morning we went to the house. We took a look at the house and all that stuff, and it was sad. It was awful.
Right.
And then the icing on the cake is that next day they closed off they closed off my company. That site that I was going to was closed off, so I couldn't go to work anymore. I already had a scheduled flight to go there on Monday, and obviously that was canceled. And then the next day they called off school. So school was closed off for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember that? Flatten the curve shit?
Flatten the curve.
And all that at once, man.
Yeah. It's a lot to take on, man.
It was a lot to take on. I don't know how I didn't have a breakdown, but
that's what I was wondering. Like we talked, it went through, but I didn't know if you had like a downtime, or did something happen, or did you freak out? Well, you kind of kept your cool.
I kept my cool, and it wasn't all smoke and mirrors. Trust me. Like if I'm the first one to come and talk if something's really bothering me,
Right.
But my thinking was we were all in this together. There was me, my brother, my dad, my mom, my wife. My mother actually wound up moving in with us all around that same time
Oh
because she
yeah,
didn't have a
that's
home.
right.
That was her house.
That's
So
right.
literally, I went from traveling every single week for work, and then coming home to my old childhood home burned down. My mom moving in with us for 3 months, COVID, and
COVID.
then the kids not going to school.
Right.
Um,
Talk about change
I
of
was probably
direction.
more worried about the COVID thing than I was for anything else. Probably, if I'm being honest, that
Right.
kind of took higher priority.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Like when all that was said and done, I remember I came home, saw the house, was really upset with the whole my cousin, and then the kids didn't have school, and I didn't know how to process this whole COVID thing because I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea if this means we're all going to die or
Right. What's the
I had
extent
no
of it?
idea. And I would say I was pretty good there too. But I did go to the supermarket. Sunday was the last time I went to the supermarket, and at that point it was like 6 months because we were just ordering food and spraying it down with Lysol.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck do we know? And I mean, I went to the supermarket. I bought a bunch of stuff, and that was it. I'm like, let's just see what happens. But I think because we're all in it together, Pete, I think that's probably why I didn't lose my mind and freak
Right.
out.
Usually it's kind of like the strong. They always say like when there's situations like say someone is dying or they know they're on the verge of it for say like a husband and a wife, and one person is terminally ill. Like the wife just becomes a superhuman person, not that they are insensitive or not. It just becomes this like instinctual thing that they have to take care of the person, and they don't show any type of weakness or fear, and they just kind of keep, like you said, it's all smoke and mirrors, but it's just, you just end up, you choose to be the stronger one, and then you just kind of take on that role, so
to a degree until eventually you break down,
until you break, and then when it's all over, then the real stuff, the actual stuff sets in.
It's like running a race, or like you've done a ton of competitions, whether it's running a race or doing a bodybuilding show, whatever. There's that super high you have, and that high lasts for at least a couple of days, and then all of a sudden it's like
crash.
The same as when you're in that situation with death or whatever else. It's not a good high, but you already have this feeling that you need to be in control, if you will, and you are to an extent. But then everything goes away, you kind of crash, and that's kind of the same, Yeah, man. So I would say it's probably one of the biggest, hardest probably weeks.
Yeah.
And that just kickstarted COVID. It was just a really bad way to start this whole last 2 years.
And what happened with the people from work? They all got it?
Yeah, there was about 18 people that wound up getting it. And at that point, you got to remember in the very beginning, like there was all this like contact tracing stuff that was supposed to take place, and we were supposed to get phone calls. We never did. It just didn't work, right? So there could have been way more people who got it from that site. I mean, I was leading a room of 200 plus people for about 3 weeks. We're doing like certain kind of testing for this product that we were delivering, and there was a ton of people in this room. It was a huge room, but I mean, figure it out, right? They don't even want us 6 feet apart. They want today. Can you imagine if someone did get sick in that kind of setting, how quick of a spread that would be for everyone else? So I don't know. Pete.
Super fast.
When did Krank? Did Krank close?
March 16th.
The doors closed on March 16th because you were still doing.
Because I was saying, fuck this. I don't care if I die. I remember I said that. I remember I was like, I did that whole thing. Like everyone's like, oh no, I'm not going in. I was like, I don't give a shit. We're opening the doors. I kept them open, and the cops kept coming.
Yeah, you got in trouble, right?
Yeah, the cops kept coming. Someone kept calling the cops on us.
Okay.
So after a while, I remember the last class was that Monday, and it was like I had like a 9 o'clock and a 10 o'clock, and then after that, we had to shut the doors. And then we kept trying to open them. We kept going in, and we were there, and then we got in trouble. So we just moved it.
How does that work? Who told you had to shut down? The town?
The police. The police came in.
No, before all this, they gave you a notification.
They gave us a notice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fire department came by every business and gave us like a sheet of paper that said like, I don't remember what it said.
Wow.
if it's close down or be careful or no one can. Yeah, I think it was just like you have to close, and then
Did
that was
you
it.
through the industry, like peeps that you speak to, did you know this was coming?
No, no
Oh
one.
wow.
Everyone was kind
So
of. I
when
was
you
out of
got
that
that
industry.
first notice, were you like, what the fuck is this?
I was like, "What the fuck is this? Fuck you!" I'm
Yeah.
like, we're not. We opened again. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
listening to this. And then it got down to a point of like, yeah, you should be. No one should be in the gym. And then people were leaving messages, and the cops were coming more. And so it just
Were
became.
you able to still do something in that parking lot or that field
We
if you
did.
wanted to?
Yeah, we
I
did
remember
it.
you did.
No, I was getting kicked out of everywhere, like
Okay.
everywhere, like
Okay.
everywhere. So like
Yeah,
I
I
would try
remember
in the
that.
mornings, fine, yeah.
Yeah, we spoke about that. Yeah, yeah, okay.
I kept moving. I went to Bloomfield. Like I went everywhere trying to find places because they would just keep because our classes were so big that like, after a while they were cool with us doing it in some places, but then we get kicked out for like a town thing. Once the town started getting involved, it was getting difficult to try to run these classes. We had a pretty good schedule for the most part, but
Right.
it was never guaranteed.
Okay.
So like if I was doing something, I'm trying to do everything we can. So I'm bringing like prowlers out. I'm doing all this stuff, and then we get kicked off the field because we don't have a permit. And then I went to get a permit, and no one wanted to give me a permit because they don't want to give permits. So it was just like it was just nonsense. So we just did it wherever we could. And then there's points where like there's like geese shit and dog shit on places, and it's kind of gross. It was getting gross.
I remember the infamous text you sent me. It was a vent text. It was probably in April. I'm not gonna read it. I don't know if I still have it. I don't know if I think my phone deletes text after a year, which
Yeah,
kind of sucks. But it was something like it was long and it was basically saying this fucking sucks. You know,
yeah,
just everything. This sucks. You want your gym back. You
yeah.
want your space, like your own space again. None of
That's
this
all I wanted.
computer shit. How
Oh
did you
yeah.
run? How did you classes like this? So you did it on Zoom,
So I would do a Zoom. So I do. Let's see.
and so people would just be like, kind of standing up doing like,
Yes. Yeah. And it's like they're just watching the computer, just listening to what I say. And it was
and would
like,
you work out also with them?
no, no. I would demonstrate if I needed to, but I would literally
Okay.
watch to make sure they looked
Wow.
okay. And I was like, some people didn't put their screens on, so I didn't know what they're doing. I remember it'd be like Monday I'd have outdoor class, Tuesday I have Zoom, Wednesday I have outdoor class, Thursday I have Zoom, and then some days I do like outdoor class, run home, do a Zoom, and then it was pretty fucking whatever. It did whatever, and the Zooms are definitely after a while you can't. I was just drinking the whole time. I was literally just pouring drinks and teaching class like that. Like it was a coffee, but I was like a parent at dance class. I wasn't
You were
doing
one of those
anything. I was
parents.
just fucking. I
Yeah,
was just drinking straight up, like just moving to the side.
exactly. And I would have known. I've been like, oh, that guy over there, that guy's definitely drinking some alcohol
Yeah,
while I'm watching.
definitely drinking it up. And then that was it. Cause it was like, it kind of felt like nonsense. I was like, why, what are we doing? What the fuck is this? But people still do. There's still comedy shows. People still do online comedy shows. I don't,
Online comedy shows.
they still do it. Virtual comedy shows. Corporate hires people. They literally hire a comic. Someone asked me to do one. It was for like a mental health Christmas party. And I was like, I'm not doing it. No, because it's like, what? No, people do it though because it pays.
Let me tell you something, man. That I don't miss that. I don't miss the whole Zoom event things, like all the. We do WebEx, like in our company, we do WebEx and we do like Microsoft Teams. So Zoom to me, I didn't even know what the hell Zoom was. It was like a whole
Right.
new thing. So I'm used to these kind of sessions, like video conferencing and stuff, 'cause it's what I do every day.
Right.
But not where I need to entertain. Like for example, I don't know how to do a happy hour.
Right.
I'm just like
I do it.
Brady Bunch looking screen like
Everyone's just talking at the same time. It's kind of annoying. One person's trying to talk. It's like, yeah.
Well, you forget that. You forget like when we go to an event, if you go to a bunch of people, you're all sitting at a table, and then you got like 3 or 4 people listening in, or a whole table, blah blah blah. But there's all conversations that are taking place by itself,
Yeah.
In a happy hour virtually, that doesn't work because the second someone speaks, nobody else can hear anything.
No.
that's like,
No. We tried, and it was just like people just listen to me talk. It's like, oh,
yeah.
might as well just have a video conference. It's
And I know you and I are the same. I hate that awkward silence. So
right.
if you have 50 people all staring at each other, like I'm usually the guy who's like, yeah, so the weather outside is frightful.
Did you just lyric Christmas song?
Yes,
The weather outside.
I actually pulled one of those things out. I had a Christmas trivia that I put together because I didn't know what to do. I'm like, who invented the candy cane?
Because that's how awkward it is when they get silent. Some people don't know how to talk. And it's like, oh, I got nothing else to say. So I know you're working out. You're working out, man. You look good. I don't want to change subject. We're talking about the gyms. We're talking about outdoors. What's your workout now? Like since the pandemic, you've been doing you kind of work out at home now.
All right. So one thing I got from Krank, all the fundamental shit I learned from you in Krank, which is great, because I try to carry that in now into my own little personal kind of world. The best thing about Krank, which I went to for 10 years.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people. I think I was one of the last to sign, right?
Yes. You were one of the first there that day.
I was one of the first there, and I just kind of stood there because and this is all going to come into, let me just kind of explain my story, right? And where I am today. Yeah. At that point, when you opened Krank, I was bigger. Like I had more mass because I thought that's what I wanted. I was 29 or 30. I just got married, maybe 30, 31. And, being from New Jersey, there's like this stigma. I don't know. If you want to go out and then kind of feel good, you got to be, if you're working out, you should be muscular. That's it. Not about like looking lean and slim. Just not. You want big shoulders and a six pack. That's not possible, right? So I had my own little routine of Strong and Shapely. You opened up Krank. I went to your little first signing thing, and I remember I was like petrified. I'm like, I don't want to do all this cardio. Am I going to get skinny? I remember that was my thing. Am I going to get skinny? I would go back now and punch myself in the head if I could, because Krank was the best thing ever. In the beginning it was very much geared to like us kind of meathead guys who were kind of trying to slim down a little bit and still pack on the muscle, right? And then it kind of turned more into, there's definitely different mixes of like classes and stuff you kind of started. And because of that, which is probably the worst thing, I couldn't figure out what I wanted, right? I couldn't figure out if I wanted to be bigger, slimmer, stronger, etc. Fast forward today, when I stopped going to Krank for work and stuff, I was doing like little hotel gyms, or like my gym here at Cambridge Heights. Those weights go to 50 pounds, but I was still trying to make the best of it. I was using machines and stuff. It fucking sucks. It sucks because I had to figure out my own workouts. It was awful. I got to write shit down again. Remember that? Fuck.
Yes.
When COVID happened, I had nothing. So I had to figure everything out from scratch. And what did I do first? I started going through my little Pete Isip workouts, and I started bringing a little whiteboard outside with me, and I write down some shit, do sprints back and forth, mountain climbers. I think I had a 20-pound weight till I had, and I think that was it to start. Oh, I had my bag. I had my ruck bag.
A bag, right? Ruck bag.
Yeah, I have a ruck bag. So for all you guys who don't know me or know me, I'm a huge Go Ruck guy. I love it. I'm not sponsoring them. Their shit's way too expensive. So don't get it. I'm not sponsoring them. But I did do a Go Ruck event back like in 2011, and I bought a big expensive bag with it. And I never thought I would use that bag again. And all I do for 2 years is use this bag. I pack it up with like 30, 40 pounds of weight, and I did a ton of stuff with that. I was so much like where I was leaning on my stairs, friggin' trying to do incline press with the bag, like one arm incline press. I had all these ideas to do different things.
You're learning. You being innovative.
Finally, around like probably mid last year, I bought a pair of gymnastic rings, and then that kind of changed me. That was when I kind of changed. I changed a lot, and I kind of went more to the calisthenic route. I had a 50-pound kettlebell that I had from a neighbor, which I still have. I got to give it back to him. And I use that for a lot of like
your neighbors, you said?
Yeah. I use that for like a lot of my strength and conditioning, but I did a ton of like calisthenics in between.
Yeah.
I started leaning out and getting slim and getting like more leaner and stuff. And I realized I kind of liked the way I looked. I felt good. And when I went to the doctors later on that year, a lot of the numbers that were a little higher were now suddenly lower, like my blood sugar, my blood pressure, everything was like good. And so I just kind of kept with it.
Yeah.
I have a whole little routine I do. I do 3 days a week. I do a full body calisthenic workout, no weights.
Right.
And then I do I do like front lever and back lever progressions. So I'm
Yep.
trying to get like, you ever see those people just completely
Mhm.
straight on them? I got all these cool little things. I got constantly YouTube videos to kind of figure out what I want to do and how I want to look for certain
Right.
like movements and stuff for progressions. And last but not least, I love the outside. You know, that
Right.
was something I got from Krank with the outside work we did. I've always loved it. And that's, you know, that's where I'm going to probably continue doing is just the
Yeah.
shit outside in my little yard and outside of my neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean,
Great.
you look great. It's like,
Thanks, man.
yeah, for
Thanks.
sure.
I don't run anymore. I walk. I walk everywhere. That's my thing.
Right.
I walk like 2-3 miles a day. I'll either put a heavy bag on and walk with it, or I'll just go for a walk. That's my mental release also.
Right.
So if I start to have like stress from work or whatever, I'll just get out and go for a little walk.
Right.
Get
Or you
some
said that.
podcasts done. And
Like, you've been doing it for like a while.
I have, yeah. I've
3
been doing
miles,
it
5 miles. I was like, whoa.
since the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else? What else?
I
What else
remember
you gonna do?
I remember this is how you know things have changed. When I first started doing my walks, it was around March 2020, and all the way up until maybe like October or December of last year, were people still getting off the sidewalk. You know, we're going to the other side of the street when I was when I was doing my walks.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Like,
People
motherfucker.
completely, no one knew what, and then if someone crossed, you watch them like go like that.
Like, who's this fucking zombie walking down the street?
Oh man, I forgot about that. People would get out of people's way. Like no one
Hmm?
wanted to be near anyone
Let me see this.
at
It's too
all.
creepy. Let me get this a little bit. Get some
It's
light
like,
in here.
you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I really do. I love it. I love outside working, and I'm curious to see where I can go with just calisthenics, seeing what happens.
The rings are an amazing tool. Like
It's great.
if you know how to use them correctly, and like you already said, like doing levers and stability and just
Yeah.
basic core strength, it's one of the best tools you can have. It just, how do you teach? You can't teach that to people. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm really glad you adopted that. Like I watch CrossFitters use it, but like how many people actually owned, how many people are actually owning the movement versus like forcing the movement? You know,
Yeah.
it's a big difference. So I love the rings, but if like I don't feel like I'm strong enough for it, there's no fucking way I'm gonna touch them because I could tear a shoulder. You know, I could tear it fast.
Yeah.
If I'm
Well,
timed out.
there's cues, and that's what you really
Right.
gotta. There's cues, and you gotta be really patient. It's all about time, and I
Right.
mean we have all the time in the world now. So it's like for me, if I want to get to some, like right now, I told you I'm trying to handstand push-ups. That's my new
Yeah.
thing. But like legit, just trying to do a handstand, not against the wall, just doing a handstand. So I'm almost there, and then starting to do push-ups. Just badass looking, right? It's just
Nice.
cool.
It is.
But there's a whole way to get there, and
Right.
I can simply keep trying to do handstands,
Right.
but I'm doing the smaller progressions, and
Right.
it takes time.
Tons of time. Tons of time. Like it's hands. You think handstand? Like you said, you could force it, right?
Yeah.
You could force the handstand push up. You could force a overhead handstand push up. But are you just getting to point A and point B? Probably. You don't know what damage you're
Mhm.
doing inside. You know, it's really jamming you up. You could even fuck your back up just because you're upside down in inversion. It's yeah.
Well, if you fall the wrong way too, that's another
Oh,
thing. You got to learn how to fall the right
how to
way.
get out of it, right?
Yeah. I learned a couple. Don't go forward. You're gonna bang your back.
I got it. Well, now I'm stuck. It's like, well, should have figured
Like,
out the rest of that shit.
if you stole my phone, you would just laugh. You'd be like, "What is wrong with this guy?" There's tons of videos of me doing all these things. Like, because I look back to see where I need to correct some stuff.
Oh, okay. So you like kind of tweak and
Yeah.
you film and tweak your own.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome.
It's fun.
Awesome.
I love it, man.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you found it.
And now
That was a tool.
are you still doing are you doing something similar, or you're doing weights again?
I'm doing mainly body weight stuff. It's called, so I'm learning, I will say I use mostly kettlebells right now because
Yeah.
I work at home. I don't have,
I
like, if I
love
have to
kettlebells.
go out,
I
I
love it.
can't go out. Yeah, it's like I have the kids with me and it's all different. So I have 2 kettlebells and I kind of
You'll do it
whatever.
in there in the house.
Yeah, I'll do whatever I
Perfect.
can
Yeah.
inside here.
Yeah.
And it's usually 4 primary strength days and then 2 it depends on how it goes during the week. If the main concept I'm adopting is longevity, right? So
Mhm.
I've even my eating has changed the past 2 weeks. Um, the way I work out is if I just don't feel good, like I'm not gonna force myself to work out, like because I'm super tired, I just don't feel right. I'll just wait a day, and it's like nothing. I just have to convince myself that nothing wrong is gonna happen if I miss the day. You're
Yeah,
so into like, oh, I gotta go, we gotta go, keep you're on a roll. But I was like, if I miss 2 days, but then get 4 days straight, it still equals, the amount of time. And I'm taking more of an approach of I'm not pushing it as hard and very intentional. So if I'm doing, say, like I have bench press, overhead press with dumbbells, right?
Mhm.
I only go up to 50 pounds. Hotel gyms and these type of
Yeah,
gyms are up to 50. I put tension. Like I really, as I'm coming down, I'm thinking about I'm trying to feel every muscle group from my feet
uh,
to the hands. So
yeah,
I'm really putting that intention into it. So I just get a better response out of it. And my hips don't hurt anymore. My back feels okay. So it's like, I don't press it. Yesterday I did a good workout. I had a fun one. It was, I called it, Do I Stutter? So it was a kettlebell, was it kettlebell cleans, inverted rows, push-ups, goblet squats, kettlebell swings, and then lunge jumps. Very basic kettlebell
yeah.
and calisthenics. 20, so 20 of each, and then 20 of each again, then 19 of each, and then 19 of each again.
Mm,
So it's a very high volume, but it's just one of those like, is this going to be over? This
yeah,
workout that's the type of workout that I wanted, and it kind of did it. So I didn't get hurt. I was a little sore, and if I feel something, I'm not afraid. I put my ego down. Like if I started with like a 50, and it just doesn't feel right when I'm squatting, I just do body weight squats. So it's like
yeah,
it doesn't, it's
yeah.
really understanding the body more for this longevity. And I honestly, for diet wise, I stopped eating meat, not to be vegan. It's expensive to try
Mhm.
to hold this whole high protein agenda. So I just started eating more vegetables with rice and not being afraid to eat more fruit. So just kind of switching the tables and not getting into the whole calorie counting, just taking that stress off, and I feel good. So I eat like meat,
Yeah, good.
1 meal a day if it's there, and I'm the one that cooks, so I'm not like say go save animals. Like no, it's expensive, and I don't want to like burn through a fucking 3 pounds of chicken in 2 days.
That was one of the keys for me leaning out a bit. When the pandemic happened, I wasn't eating out like I was when I was traveling. And my wife she cooks really healthy, but I don't have all those leftovers like I used to have, right? So my eating habits got smaller. And then when you eat, like your body just adapts. Right? So like I get fuller faster now.
Right.
But around that time too, I had some bad blood results. This is before I started doing calisthenics. So I started eating differently. I told you this. I started doing like
Yep.
more Mediterranean style kind of
Right.
eating, a lot of fiber. I'm definitely a little less protein for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, my plate is way more vegetables and fiber or whatever, as
Hmm.
opposed to like 3 pieces of chicken.
Right.
Maybe I'll have half. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it kind of works. A little bit. Your body immediately is like, yo, what the fuck? It's
Right.
like, yo, it doesn't know how to react because you're putting all this fiber in your body,
Oh, I bet.
and it could be good or bad. So it took a little bit, and even now it's still a bit of a balance. Sometimes I'll eat like shit for a week, and then your body kind of yells at you, and then I kind of go back to my regular eating habits again. But that's key there. That's key. And also another thing is the discipline. So like you said, I don't do the same. I don't get down on myself. Like today I'm supposed to go do a workout, but I didn't. But I don't
Right.
care. I'll just do it
Right.
tomorrow. Gives a shit. Like where I remember being like almost I probably almost killed 30 people in my life trying to get to Krank for 5:30. And I think I was always late by at least 5 minutes.
Always late.
Because if I missed the workout, like mentally, I was
Right.
fucked. So back to the mental thing. If you know how that is when you work out, it helps relieve stress, a lot of good stuff.
Easy.
If I can't get a workout in, then I'll just go for a walk. And then I could do. Right? Because that's way easier. Just a little mile, just a quick little 15-minute walk. is good.
That's a good
Put
one.
some headphones on and just zone out.
That's a good one because you're still doing something, and especially
Something.
for the brain. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
getting that out of the way. It's like, yo, I missed today. Yeah, most of us beat ourselves up for not getting to the gym or missing a class. But I think it's a great approach. It's like, all right, let me put headphones on and let me go for a walk for that time being. You know, it's like, if I was late or whatnot. It's a good one.
I heard the podcast Neil. First off, hi Neil, if you're listening.
Hi, Neil.
I loved his thing that's happening here. It looks amazing.
Ridiculous.
And I didn't know how, and good luck and everything with the bodybuilding. I didn't know how knowledgeable he was.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I wish I spoke to him and asked tons of questions way back in the day.
You only saw him on if you worked out on Saturday. That's the only time you see Neil. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Neil always worked. He was you know. This was.
He would
just
give you
passion.
tips. I remember he would tell you,
Yeah.
give you some cues and stuff.
Very
But why
smart.
I'm bringing him up because the Bombay Beast. That's the
Class A
that's it right
workout.
there.
That's
I tried to do those kind of workouts, like the volume stuff.
That was your
as
board
well.
every day. I remember you showed me, like, look,
My
this is my
little board.
board. I read it out and I do it.
No, but the best part was I would like the naming of the workout was the best part. I would name like the Chronic or something.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
if I slip, then I'm slipping or something. some like stupid.
Naming the workouts are the best. Like trying to find something like witty that just matches it. It's really fun.
I get so excited over it too, and I don't even share it with anybody. It's just like for me, I'm like,
Right. Just only for you. No one cares.
the best part about working out outside is that I live in a development, right? A
Yeah.
townhome development. So everyone thinks I'm absolutely crazy. But I also inspire people. I know that for sure. I've heard so many times, oh my God, you're always out here, doing whatever, and wow, I should be doing the same. And I'm like, yeah,
Right.
you should.
Right.
No matter the weather, 30 degrees, I don't care.
Right.
I'll wear a little hat like you. I'll put some gloves on. Fuck it.
So those are the best. Those are the best workouts, man.
Love it.
A little tough, but you can't beat it. So we gotta close up soon. So I'm gonna ask you this question: is there any question that you wish I asked you?
Oh, this is how you always finish this. And I always get confused by this question. I'm always like, what haven't I asked Pete?
Yeah, we did a lot. You covered a lot. You asked a lot. Yeah. What question do you wish that I asked you?
I know.
Is there something that you want to talk about? If not, no big deal. Because we did cover a lot of bases.
I think we talked too much. When will I be back on? That's probably the next question.
Yeah.
When will your audience want to see another Danny Pete show?
That's perfect. That's perfect. When is that going to happen? Next week? See you next week.
What are you doing for Christmas?
I got two. No.
Now your in-law, your mother-in-law staying.
Well, she's going to be here. Yeah. So that's cool. At least it'll feel like that. We don't have anything planned. Same thing like Thanksgiving was like a wash. We just fucking ordered Chinese food. It just doesn't feel like it feels weird. It's weird because it doesn't feel like Christmas. I used to get excited. And I was like, so I got a candle, put the tree up. I got a bunch of stuff to make it feel like it. But
the palm tree, you put the palm tree up.
Palm tree.
Yeah, they put the palm tree.
They got some regular trees over here. We got some leaves. Someone had to the guy was like blowing the leaves, and it looked like he was having the hardest time. It was literally like one tree on Bell Street. It was nothing. The guy was like,
"A lot of that goes out over here." Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God, fucking leaves!" Like crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah, dude, what? This is not even.
They always do like the landscaping with those loud ass blowers. There's like 67 of them that are all coming here and blowing the leaves. Always when I'm about to present on a big call.
Oh, really?
It's like, I'm like, oh my God.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go meet this guys. Yeah, I bet fucking the landscapers at your place. That's a lot of property.
Before you end us, hang on. I do have a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Your comedy. What's going on there? You're hosting now, right?
Yeah, I hosted. I'm not hosting. I hosted. They haven't called me back yet. This week
for
was
a week or one show. How'd that work?
I did one show so far. Yeah, it was fun. And they had like almost 40 comics. I have the list. It was very, very long. It was very taxing. But it was fun. I got the crowd going in the beginning. I did my job. And then after that, you're kind of just like managing comics and calling them up and then putting them down. I'm working on new bits. So I have like a couple newer things that I'm working on, but my anxiety the past 2 weeks were so high. I actually walked out on Wednesday.
Okay.
I convinced myself. I was like, just go, just go. You just got to go. I really didn't want to go, and then I went down, checked in, waiting for my slot. I started getting such a panic attack, like in the place. I was like, I'm just gonna leave, and I left.
Are you, because you're in your head? You're thinking too much about, you don't
Is it?
you get any anxiety when you go on stage? Could that
Oh
be triggering
no,
it?
no. When I go on stage, I feel fine. It just was.
Exactly.
I've
Is
had
that
anxiety pretty high the past couple weeks, just from like waking up. So it
so?
just kind of started.
Why not try to use that opportunity to go on stage to help? It's
I
like
don't
going
know.
outside, going for a
I
walk or
convinced
working out, right?
myself
It's
that
like
I,
that
yeah.
mental release. You can't.
No, I couldn't do it. I wasn't strong enough to do it that day. So try again next week or this week coming up. So hopefully it goes down. Like I said, I don't know if a lot of this is stemming from the medication, the amount that they're putting in. I just want it to be over with so I could not take medication. But I
Yeah.
do know with this, it's like a lifelong thing. So just trying to find that right balance. And the beginning is hard. The beginning is hard
Okay.
in doing so. Comedy's fun. I'm learning that I like it. I do not love it. Um, I don't like the lifestyle. Like this is the main reason I kind of stopped too. Back in the day was because it's very late, and if
Yeah.
I want to do more mics, they start at like 11 o'clock. Some of them are at midnight, and then if you get on a show, it's like Friday, Saturday nights, and it's just like night. And for
Okay.
me, I'm a morning person, so it's
Yeah.
like I like it and all. I love the craft. I love getting on stage, but at the same time, I don't like coming home late. I
Yeah.
don't like getting
Yeah.
out here. You don't want to be out late at some places. Some weird shit happens out here. Some
Okay.
bad
Okay.
bad drivers. There's some fucking people who carjack you. There's a lot of gang shit. Like it's not Nutley. It's
Yeah.
not
I
like
gotcha.
So it's not even New York City. Like New York City, I feel safer in New York City because I kind of know New York City versus over here. So it's very unknown. It's like you go down some weird street and you never know like how fast someone else is driving because they drive like shit or they're drunk. So yeah, I don't like being out that late because a lot of shit at nighttime doesn't nothing right happens. Like they'll ask me to like hang out, and I'll try to hang out till the end of the shows, and I can't do it. Like yeah, I want to go home and like I want to go to sleep. So like, how do you network, right? How do you become a
Exactly.
comedian when you
Yeah.
don't become friends with any of them? So it's like I can't
And
because
part of that gig is also not just the networking, but also then knowing more about um, their style of comedy, et cetera. If
right,
you're hosting, et cetera, you want to be able to speak about somebody and know about that person, right?
right,
When
right.
you book
Not for the
people and bring
most
them on
part.
stage, et cetera.
Not for the most part. When you bring them on stage, you'll talk to them beforehand. You talk to them in the green
Okay.
room, let them know a little bit about themselves, and then that's your job after
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
So if so, like a professional headliner came in, like I don't know anything about them, they'll give me their list of like, what do you want me to say about you, and then they'll kind of like they'll kind of tell me what to say. Then I just got to practice saying it.
Okay.
So it happens. But yeah, lifestyle wise, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the nighttime. So we'll see where it goes. I'll keep doing it because it's fun and it keeps me out of my head. Well, sometimes this week not so much, but
What time do you go to bed?
whenever the kids do. Last night I fell asleep at 8:30, maybe 8 o'clock.
8:30.
I fell
Okay.
asleep, yeah. But usually I'll get to bed like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Last night I finally passed out. Past couple nights I didn't even sleep. I think slept like 3-4 hours.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
I do know that when I wake up in the morning to go to work at 7ish, the best part about working from home is like I can just literally wake up and start working without having to
Yeah.
drive anywhere. It's great. I see you and Vinny already texting each other. I'm like, isn't he freaking sleeping?
No.
It's 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m.,
What?
3 in the morning. It's kind of when I wake up.
Yeah, I feel like Greg Fokker, coming late to the party.
Yeah.
You guys are already
And you're like at 7. It's not even that bad.
exactly.
It's like
It's not even like 6. It's 7.
yeah,
It must
7.
be 9:30 at night.
Vinny will be texting me or texting, and they'll just respond back. Oh yeah, I'm like taking a dump. I'm just sitting there making coffee, waiting for everyone to wake up.
All
That's
right,
cool.
man. Like I said, we'll figure out dates so I get my ass out there to see you.
Yeah, man, for sure. That'd be awesome.
All
I
right.
know once you get all your shit done and everything, we'll still be here. So we got a while. We got a
Congrats you
while.
got the house, right? Congrats on the house.
No, thanks. It's
Yeah.
it's being built. We have the skeleton is up. So we
Yeah.
just went there the other week and we saw like the wood and stuff like that. It was good. So it was cool.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
man.
Oh, I will talk to you soon, sir. Thank you for having me.
Let me sign you off, guys. Thank you so much for coming out today. If you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you let us know. Let us know if you want to hear us again, because you probably will. So either if you like us or not, you're probably going to see Danny again on this podcast. And Danny, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for the awesome questions. It kind of was like a reverse podcast today. So you always do that. You always do that. It's like, so it was a great mix and a cool little, I guess, is that banter?
Good, yeah. Good back and forth.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you next week, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from Pete, you can follow him on Instagram at Pete Isip. Thanks again, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.